Now you may be asking yourself, why on earth are you tearing this house down? And well, there is a very good reason, and that is because we need to build a different type of residence. Yep, we'll take this cup as well, that'll come in helpful. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to collect all this, and I'll meet you back over at the base. Yeah? Yeah. Roll intro. This is the world of Pixelmon, where Pokemon and Minecraft come together in this unique adventure. In this series, me and a couple of friends will be collecting, training, and thriving in this world. Now, due to in real life stuff, we're not going to have a battle for the next 2 weeks. Well, this week and next week we're not going to have a battle, so I need to figure something out for next week. But this week, I've already got an idea. See this building behind me that I've just built? Yeah? We're going to go have a look in there right now. We have decided to just completely rip off Mystic. Now, he hasn't done this in the Pokemon series, but he's currently doing Norwegian lessons in Dockicraft. So I figured I'd come and build myself a little classroom and we can do Pokemon lessons with EXP. Good idea? Yeah. Probably not, it's probably an awful idea, but I'm doing it anyway. So, let's get into the lesson, shall we? Okay, everyone, sit down. Professor Topello here. Now, this, on my fancy board here, is a Pokemon. You already know that. These are its stats. So let's me break down what they mean. HP is the hit points, how much damage it can take. Attack is how much damage it deals with physical attacks. Def is defense, how much physical damage is negated. Special attack, how much damage is dealt with special attacks. Special defense, damage negated from special attacks. And finally, speed, how fast a Pokemon moves within a priority bracket. The first thing that goes into creating these stats are the IVs, or individual values, which are basically the Pokemon's genetics. It's what they're born with, and it ranges from 0 to 31. Now, you can breed for specific numbers for specific interactions, but most of the time you want 31 in all of the stats, with the common exception being 0 in speed or attack. Next is the EVs, or effort values, and this is where a good chunk of a Pokemon's versatility comes from. Each Pokemon can gain a total of 510 EV points to spread throughout the 6 stats, but each stat maxes out at 252, so you can only ever have 2 maxed out stats. As well as this, every 4 EVs are equal to 1 more point in the chosen stat. So at level 100 this is, like VG sets are at level 50, but that's a different equation, and we're keeping it simple for the sake of this Pixelmon series. Next along, we have natures, which give a 10% boost to one stat and a 10% handicap to another. So if we take, for example, Modest, you get a 10% boost to your special attack at the cost of 10% of your attack. You can understand why that might be important. And Jolly would be a 10% increase on your speed for a 10% decrease on your special attack, and you understand how these things, they tie in. When we're talking the amount of stats that a Pokemon has, that can be a pretty big deal. Taking damage into account is somewhat difficult, as there's always a roll involved, meaning the damage dealt is in a range, not a specific number. So if you want to guarantee one-hit KOs, you need to calc for the lowest possible damage. If you want to guarantee you live, then you calculate for the highest. There are several tools for this, but Showdown's own calculator, this one here, is the most used. Now that we've covered this to round a Pokemon stats out, let's discuss. Now that this has been covered to round out a Pokemon stats, we can discuss other customizabilities. First, there is abilities, which every Pokemon has 1, some has 2, and a fair few, probably most of them, have 3. These affect a lot of different things and can make a Pokemon fantastic despite its typing and stats, or unusable despite its typing and stats. For example, Sheer Force allows you to do additional damage while ignoring secondary effects, and Pickup does absolutely nothing in battle. The last thing to cover is Move Pool. Everyone knows the meme, if it doesn't do damage, I don't want it, but there are a lot of options to consider. For example, Will-O-Wisp will burn a Pokemon and do damage over time, which sometimes is a good thing, but it's often used for its secondary effect that halves the attack stat of a burnt Pokemon. So if you've got a threat facing you down that's now burnt, it could be completely useless. And then Nasty Plot is something that doubles your special attack, or say Nuzzle, that causes a small amount of damage but paralyzes, which has the secondary effect that the Pokemon's speed is halved. These are the building blocks of battles, but the biggest asset you can have is knowledge of a metagame. What's popular and why, what's its counters and how do you counter its counters, etc, etc. The last thing to consider before I talk about the ways you can EV train in Pixelmon is the luck aspect. Mostly through random chances such as Flamethrower's 10% chance to burn, or critical hits which ignore all your own stat drops and opposing Pokemon stats boosts, as well as screens, which is something else we'll get into on a completely different lesson, because there's a lot, but we're trying to do it just how to build a Pokemon for now. These random encounters are unavoidable and make things volatile, which is why team building will usually take these into account, but not obsess over them, because ultimately there's nothing you can do to control the majority of it. On to the last section, how to EV train. Firstly is happiness berries. They'll increase happiness but lower EVs, so you can theoretically strip any Pokemon down to 0 EVs and start again using them. The easiest way to EV train if you've got no EVs is to know what EVs you want a Pokemon to have, find something that rewards that, and then farm them. For example, every Machop rewards 1 attack EV, and every Machoke 2. So if you need something to have max attack, you just go and farm a load of Machokes and Machops. You'll be maxed out in probably half an hour, maybe an hour max. If you want a more complex system, it's probably not the best way of doing it, but you can still do it, you just got to keep the math in your head. And if you use the Pixelmon wiki to know what Pokemon rewards which EVs and aim for a common one, that is the best way of doing it. The second way is through feathers, which aren't too uncommon, but it's not ideal as it only reward 4 EVs per one. If you find an infuser and mix the feathers with berries, you can create vitamins which reward 10 EVs per one, and by far the best way to EV train. Although for complex spreads you'll want to use all 3 methods. You can also find vitamins out and about, but they're a lot less common than feathers. And that just about covers the basics of Pokemon building. So, I appreciate you all being here. Time to go back to EXP. Oh, this outro is not going to plan. When I say outro, I mean, basically, I thought that video was going to be, yeah, that's 10 minutes, that's plenty. We can do a little outro and with sound. But no, it's just about 7 minutes, which means this video is probably going to be about 8 minutes long. Yeah, in total. I was hoping that I could also then incorporate this berry hunt into it, because the plan was, okay, that's short, maybe we can hunt for a little berry, we can do a quick infusion tutorial, and then that will bump it up to 15 minutes or so. But no! 6 hours in, and I can't find this berry anywhere. Now, there's 2 ways of getting it. The berry in question is the Petaya berry, and when you infuse it with a genius feather, you get calcium, and calcium increases the special attack, which is the one thing I'm missing on Pelipper. I might need some on Raichu, I'm not sure. And then Clefairy, I need to think about. I think I'm going to make Clefairy defensive. So I want defense for that anyway. So we can sort that out. But yeah, to get this berry, you either need to forage in a flower field, such as this one. So let's send our Pokemon out. Not you, because you just run away. You don't forage. Can you forage? Apparently not. Right. Okay. Pelipper can forage. Pelipper's foraged perfectly fine for me before. Thank you. And you got me a puppy. Yeah. So either foraging or alternatively finding the bush naturally spawning in a savannah village, which again, I spent so long searching for them that I've given up. So I don't quite know what to do. I've got another half a day to get this video out. Maybe we can do it in that time. Maybe. But it's not looking good. Oh. You are my loyal birdie. So, Silence has informed me to just check their base for this berry. This is my last attempt to be able to get it. We're either going to get it or we're not. So, let's see. Have we any luck here? Oh, this is a nice fancy upstairs, isn't it? No. Berries. No berries. No. Nope. Looks in that one. Berries. Berries. Cherry, Ayapa, Kelpsy, Persim. Strib, Pinup, Oran, Cobra, Revival Herb, Dynamite Candy, Figgy, Ayapa. We got 2 of them. Let's be helpful. Citrus, Tomato, Cherry, Ayapa. That's not the one we want, is it? No, it's Pattaya! We're saved! The video is saved! I don't need to burn it to the ground. Yippee! Thank you very much, Silent. Let's do that properly. Thank you very much. Now, let's plant this, get some growing, and then we can make our first calcium. Do I need a new feather every time, or is it just the berries that get used up? That is going to be what we find out in about 30 seconds. I don't know why I've said that so disjointedly. Let's get this planted. I don't think I can speed up the growth of it, but we've got some bones about somewhere, so we can try. That's the wrong button. I survived anyway. Okay, let's go. 3 bushes, and about 20 minutes later, we are ready to infuse. Now, does it take coal, charcoal? How much do you actually need? Let's say 8. 8 should be enough, shouldn't it? Yeah. So, I've never done this before in this game, so hopefully it doesn't go wrong or bad at all. I don't actually know how to use the thing at all. Let's have a look at it. So, we've got our feather. There. We've got our berries. And we've got our coal. Let's go! Ooh. Excuse me. What was that noise? Hey! So yeah, it consumes all of it then. What is going on out here? Is it this? I don't know what was making that noise. Help! Anyway, we have a calcium now, so we can send out Raichu, and we gotta go, hey Raichu, how would you like some yummy EVs? And now Raichu has had some yummy EVs. Okay, you know what, that didn't go too bad. Now, we can do that over and over again, we just need genius feathers, which I think we can farm as well. But I'll just use the ones that I've got, and hopefully that's enough. So with that out the way, I appreciate you all being here. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like. Comment what you think I should cover next in another installment of this kind of thing. If you want me to do one at all. Or let me know it was absolutely useless and that you never want to hear me talk about it again. And at least it's still interaction. Leave a like, the usual YouTube stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra a bit. Ta-ra.